Hello, Canucks fans. Welcome back to another episode of Canucks Conversation, brought to you by Bet365. My name is Dave Quadrelli. We're coming to you from the Pacific Toyota Dealers Studios. Visit shoptoyota.ca or visit your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. Joining me, Harman Dial. What's with the jacket, Harm? Were you outside? You look like you were at a rink.
It's just cold. I've been feeling cold today. I was running some errands in the morning and I wore two sweaters.
Wow.
I don't know what it is. I think especially like I feel good coming off the weekend sickness, but I'm just feeling colder than I usually do. So plus this is a cold room, the cold part of the house.
Fair enough. All right.
Yeah,
It
tomorrow I'll
has
be
been
wearing a
cold.
parka.
Yeah, I've been wearing my parka to walk Bert in the morning. Like first thing in the morning, I'm getting up and it's like 4 or 5 degrees out.
I
I
swear,
have no problem putting on my winter
two,
coat.
2 weeks ago I was still able to go running in a tank top. And
Yeah,
now it almost feels like winter's here.
yeah, totally. I like nice cold with some sun. I like that
Yeah.
kind of weather. I do like that. So not gonna complain too much. Let's get into it. Canucks game day in Dallas. Okay, now this is going to be an interesting one, Harm, because some line combo changes at morning skate today. Let's quickly dive into these. I was just reading scenes from morning skate over at canucksarmy.com. These lines are courtesy of Dan Murphy, but JPat put everything together in scenes from morning skate over at CA. So what Murph tweeted were the lines. Drew O'Connor goes up with Elias Paterson and Connor Garland. Jake DeBrusk skates with Philip Hedl and Brock Besser. Then it's Evander Kane with Atu Ratu and Kiefer Sherwood on the third line. And then the fourth line is an all-Abby line of Baines, Sasson, Carlson, Jonathan Lecker-Mackey, the odd man out. No changes on defense. Well, actually, yeah, one change on defense. Elias Pettersson and Victor Mancini are skating together rather than separated. It was Pettersson who skated with Myers and Mancini skated with Pettersson. There's two Pettersons. Marcus Pettersson. Anyways, the kids are together. The young guys are together. I that's never been a problem for me. Like people always say like, "Oh, so many Pettersons." It's never actually been a problem for me. I think that was the first time it got me. But yeah, Marcus Pettersson skating with Tyler Myers. Let's focus on the forward group. Change up, Harm. Starting with that first line, Drew O'Connor going with Elias Pettersson.
Yeah, so Adam Foote hinted after Tuesday's practice that we'd see Garland bumped up to play with Paterson, and I mentioned on yesterday's show that I am looking forward and intrigued to see whether those two can build some chemistry together, because historically, when they have played together, their underlying results have been really promising together. The Drew O'Connor part of it, I'll be honest, isn't very inspiring. Bumping O'Connor up to play with Paterson reminds me of when Mikheyev or Lafferty would get turns
Big
with
body who can skate. It's
big body who can skate, but has no
That's it.
hands.
Yes, that's it. That's literally it. It's big body who can skate. That's what they're hoping for.
And I think every time Rick Tocchet looked at Elias Pettersson and went, I think he's struggling, his first thought was, all right, there needs to be more speed on that line, somebody to add some juice. And I get it, the whole getting in on the forecheck aspect, but even if that line controls possession, which it very well could, because Pettersson and Garland are two of the team's better possession drivers at the forward position, I worry about O'Connor's finishing ability. Is he going to be able to bury chances if he gets a look in the slot? So I'll be honest, could it give them a short-term spark where, similar to when Lafferty would get bumped up, sometimes it'd work for a game or two.
Yeah.
I remember Lafferty getting a tip-in goal playing on the Pettersson line or whatever, but I would be shocked if this works for longer than a few periods, if at all.
Okay. Wow. I like it. I also just realized Drew O'Connor wearing Sam Lafferty's old number 18. Chat is wondering how long Nils Höglander is going to be out as we rattle off these line combos. A while. It's going to be a while for Nils Höglander. That's a long-term one. I did want to get to the other parts of those lines. If you just pull them back up, Jacob. Sorry, I closed my tab and I shouldn't have. Because when we were looking at it originally, we were like, oh, it's going to be the wingers that changed. And obviously O'Connor kind of changes that. But Kane, Ratu, Sherwood, that's an interesting one, because that Ratu and Sherwood obviously looked good together last game. I pointed out how Ratu had a decently strong game, and obviously Sherwood scores the 2 goals, one of them assisted by Ratu. But Evander Kane on that line. That interest you at all?
It does. I honestly would have preferred Kane in that O'Connor spot, but if Kane isn't there, then I think this is the best spot, and I think it's an intriguing trio. I think it puts a lot of onus on Sherwood to have to do the heavy lifting to drive play because Ratu and Kane are both slow. Uh, so I worry about that a little bit maybe because when it was Baines, Ratu, and Sherwood, Baines, as we know, has become a lot quicker with his foot speed and is legitimately disruptive on the forecheck. And um, Kane gives you more offensive upside and is a far better finisher. But that line right now in Kane and Ratu has a couple of slower bodies. And I think Sherwood's going to have to continue what he did against St. Louis for them to mesh as a trio, I think.
This fourth line intrigues me. I'll say that. The Bain, Sass, and Carlson. Like, that line did so many good things in the AHL, and you're just looking for one line to give you a spark. I feel like they could do it. And we saw this line in the preseason, too. I think that's worth mentioning. We saw this trio skate together in the preseason. I liked what I saw. So that's one that I'm absolutely intrigued by.
For sure. I think even off the rush, you notice that they're very well connected because they have experience playing together. And that's massive because it helps a line play even faster, which speed was never going to be an issue for this line because Sassen's a burner and Baines has really improved in that area. Carlson's really the only one that's a little bit on the slower side. But they look so well connected on the breakout. They read off of one another very well. And that stood out to me in the preseason time that they had together as a line. And yeah, I am intrigued and a little bit excited to see what they can do as a fourth line together.
On this top line, Leah D in the chat said, didn't Garland and O'Connor play on the same line at Worlds? And they did. Jacob looked it up. They confirmed it with Frank Nazar centering them. So can Petey be as good as Frank Nazar? Because that line was great at Worlds. I just remembered that Garland was really good in that tournament. All right, I'm a little more on board with this. I didn't realize that was a line.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm still skeptical about O'Connor's finishing ability long term, but if he can, we know bigger body wingers work well with Connor Garland. Just look at the history between him and Joshua. And especially O'Connor's speed on the forecheck, how he's able to cause a little bit of chaos is F1. I think the line needs a little bit of that chaos element. So I can see a path where it works from that perspective. Just the difference between O'Connor and Joshua is Joshua actually had good hands around the net.
Yes.
And I don't know if we're going to see the same from O'Connor.
Yep, that's fair. Did you want to talk about the defense pairs at all? I mean, I like that they're kind of loading up the top four. I think that's probably the best move.
Yeah, I understand why they didn't play the kids together against St. Louis because you don't want a third pair with two rookies on it. You give each of Mancini and DPD a veteran partner to play with. But I think we all saw that against St. Louis, the D pairs just weren't working. And when Myers is playing with DPD, you're asking him to do more to drive a pair. Whereas I think when Tyler Myers is at his best and able to really hold his own in a top four role, it's when he has a partner that is playing really well. And I think he benefits from playing with Marcus Paterson. I do think it's interesting for DPD because had that sort of trend continued, he would have been in line to get more ice time and play harder matchups because DPD has been a great story for this organization. And I don't mean to take anything away from him, but it is worth mentioning that to this point in his NHL career, he's been very heavily sheltered.
Yeah,
in 28 games last year, he averaged less than 13 minutes and his matchups were very prescribed. Through the first two games, he was in and around the 11 to 13 minute range. But then when you saw Marcus Paterson, Tyler Myers split up and DPD playing with Myers, it was like you're not going to be able to shelter him and only play him 11, 12 minutes net anymore. And so we saw him in the 16-minute range. And more interestingly, from a matchup perspective, he spent about 5 minutes at 5-on-5 head-to-head against Robert Thomas, who's St. Louis's best forward, which is the kind of defensive challenge DPD never had up until that point. So I'm curious to see how the two kids look together, especially on the road. I don't imagine that DPD and Mancini are going to play a lot together. But if this doesn't work, I wonder if they go back to the idea of a vet with a young rookie, and if they do that, then keep an eye on DPD, because quietly his minutes and matchups will become a lot more difficult than how compared to how sheltered they were in the past if he is with Tyler Myers.
All right, for our next segment, which is Family Feud. Oh yeah, Demko starts. That's the other thing.
One more thing. One more topic I wanted to hit on. I know there was some talk about Paterson's ice time and him being just below 16 minutes per through 3 games. And I think when we discussed it, we agreed that, yeah, you probably want to see him close to the 17, 18-minute range at least. But my initial reaction was, all right, if you gave him a couple of extra minutes, I don't know how much of a difference it would have made. But just looking specifically at 5-on-5, I didn't realize just how significant the discrepancy has been between Hedel and Paterson's deployment, where Philip Hedel at 5-on-5 is straight up being deployed like the 1C. Yes. Hedel is 14th among all NHL centers in 5-on-5 ice time per game. He's like a second per game behind Nathan McKinnon in that category, whereas Elias Paterson is somewhere around 264th among all NHL forwards for 5-on-5 ice time. That has to change, especially if Garland is being bumped up to play with Elias Pettersson. And we know that Garland is arguably this team's top defensive driver at 5-on-5, meaning Hedel has less help from a defensive perspective. You got to load up Pettersson and Garland as far as playing them like a first line at 5-on-5. And I know you don't control last change, so you don't completely have control over the matchups when you're on the road. But I want to see them playing tops more often than the Hedel line, because that's the other part of it too, is it's not just the ice time. It's that in 2 of the first 3 games, Hedel has had the head-to-head competition against the other team's top line. Against Calgary, he got far more minutes against Nazem Kadri's line than Elias Pettersson did. And then even against the Oilers, and again, on the road, so Adam Foote didn't have complete control of the matchups, but Hedel spent nearly 7 minutes at 5-on-5 head-to-head against Connor McDavid. Paterson, on the other hand, was just 2 minutes head-to-head against McDavid. And Pettersson's most frequent 5-on-5 opponents were Kasperi Kapanen, Vasily Podkolzin, and Noah Philp. That is just, it's really interesting to me through 3 games. And again, with Garland bumping up and Hedel is at best an average defensive player. We've seen the turnovers the last couple of games, and now he doesn't have the safety blanket of playing with Garland either. Like, that deployment, in my opinion, has to change. Otherwise, you're putting Hedel in positions where I think you're asking too much of him defensively.
That's fair. That's very fair. And again, I was pointing this out not to the extent you did, but like, I was explaining to the people that were so excited about Pettersson's natural stat trick page that he hasn't had tough deployment this year. He just hasn't. And he's played most of those minutes with Quinn Hughes. So good context, context that you've added. I wonder if that's going to change on the road. It'll be interesting if it does.
I think to this point, Adam Foote has mostly just rolled 4 lines. I think that's what stands out. Is I don't think Foote has necessarily been chasing this idea of, I want to use Hedel in high leverage.
I'd say he's been only 3, like the Coots.
Sure, yeah. But the point being, like, the top 9 is at least more or less just rolling through.
Sure.
Almost a little bit similar to the Willie Desjardins days. But I think now is the point where, all right, if you're loading up that first line with Pettersson and Garland together, you got to be more particular and thoughtful about ice time and deployment and putting your top 6 lines in a position to succeed.
All right. Let's go. Yeah. Do you have anything else on the game tonight? It's DeSmith for Dallas, Demko for Vancouver. Anything from this Dallas side you want to say? There's 3-0. They're not going to have Matt Duchene tonight. They're obviously still missing Jamie Benn. But 3-0, this Dallas Stars team.
Yeah, they're rolling. We know that that they have always been a deep team. I think with no Ben and no Duchene and no Ottinger, Canucks are catching a little bit of a break right, we've talked about the Stars being this formidable top 9 team, but with those 2 absences, plus they also just lost a couple of their supporting cast forwards in the offseason with Mikael Granlund, with Evgeny Dodonov, with Mason Marchment. Right now, I'm looking at the Stars team on paper, and they seem a little bit more top 6 heavy than usual. Their third line on paper right now on Daily Faceoff is centered by Bork and has Blackwell on it as well. And that's fine. They're okay players. But in the past, you've looked at the Stars and gone, man, their third line looks like a second line. And that can create a bit of a challenge for teams like the Canucks from a matchup perspective that aren't as deep on top 6 caliber players. So that is a bit of a break that the Canucks are going to get tonight against the Stars. But we know, especially now that they've got Mikko Rantanen in the equation now, their top end is going to be a handful to contain.
I wanted to read this. Where'd it go? Oh yeah, P.O. Joseph activated from injured reserve. That just came down moments ago. So we talked about it being the kid line. Again, that was morning skates, so it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting if he plays, but he is activated, so we'll see. We'll see if he gets in tonight. But P.O. Joseph activated from injured reserve. All right, can you tell I'm itching to get to Family Feud?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Take it away, technical producer Jacob Lazar.
Welcome back to another edition of Canucks Conversation Family Feud. I think it's a lot of people's favorite part of the week. We get to relax, ask some questions, have some good laughs. For those of you who have not been with us, Harman's going to go first. He'll have 25 seconds on the clock. His time will begin when I finish reading the first question. All of these survey results and the data comes from you, our Canucks Conversation listeners. We send out the survey. This week, it was a little later because of the holiday long weekend. So thank you to everyone who got that done on short notice. We should have a new survey tomorrow for next week. But yeah, we got 5 questions here. This is the toughest one yet. I think I've finally found the balance in the survey results. There's a few big numbers, but not nearly as many big numbers as there's been the last few weeks. You guys need all the number ones to win. So the challenge is on.
We need all the number ones. All right. Okay,
you need all the number ones. I think it is possible to win getting only 3 or 4, but very, very difficult. You would need all the number 2s at that point. So definitely the toughest test yet. I hope you guys are up for the challenge.
Let's do it.
All right, Quads, I need you to mute yourself. There we go. He's got the AirPods on, so I'm sure he's already listening. The Toronto Blue Jays are going to come back. The Mariners will not win another game this series, and they will have their hearts broken. Okay, yeah, he's good. All right, Harm, ready to go?
Yeah.
All right, and don't forget, if you can't think of a response, say pass. We'll come back to it at the end. Your 25 seconds will begin when I finish reading the first question. Across these following 5 international hockey competitions, the World Juniors, Men's Olympics, Men's Worlds, Women's Olympics, and Women's Worlds, how many gold medals will Canada win?
3.
After upgrading the seats, what else do you want to see upgraded at Rogers Arena?
Concourse.
Who is the second best defenseman in Canucks history?
Edler.
Name a Canuck past or present with the first name Alex.
Alex Burrows.
What length will Quinn Hughes' next contract be?
8 years.
8 years. There we go. All right, you can flag Quads down.
How did it go?
I think it went decently. Still going to be some work to do. I mean, one of the questions, I don't know if I was anywhere close to a good answer or not.
Okay.
The questions aren't hard, but like Jacob said, I think we're going to have to nail all the number 1. So that's kind of the hard part.
Well, I got some good news. Harm got off to a blazing start. 127 points for Harm.
All right. Okay.
Nice.
Quads, you only need 73. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you how many number 1s Harm got, but let's just say he did well.
It was not doable. All right, let's go.
You absolutely can still win. There's There are far more than 73 points available. So
all right.
just keep that in mind.
All right.
All
I'm
right.
gonna lock in.
Quads will have 30 seconds on the clock. His time will also begin when I finish reading the very long first question. Be prepared.
Okay.
Quads, if you can't think of a response, say pass. We'll come back to it at the end. If you give one of Harm's answers, you will hear the buzzer, and I will ask you to try again. Ready to go?
Yeah.
All right. Across the following 5 international hockey competitions, the World Juniors, the Men's Olympics, Men's Worlds, Women's Olympics, and Women's Worlds, how many gold medals will Canada win?
3.
Try again.
2.
After upgrading the seats, what else do you want to see upgraded at Rogers Arena?
Washrooms.
Who is the second best defenseman in Canucks history?
Edler.
Try again.
Oland.
Name a Canuck past or present with the first name Alex.
Edler.
There you go. What length will Quinn Hughes' next contract be?
8 years.
Try again.
3 years.
3 years. All right. I
wasn't gonna go 7.
Yeah,
7 would not be. Yeah.
It was very funny. The whole like second best defenseman and then Alex back to back. Harm didn't double up on Edler. I was surprised.
Nice.
Because I feel like a lot of people did double
you
up on
say
Edler.
Burrows?
He did say Burrows. Yeah.
Attaboy. That's number 1. Let's go. Ring it up,
So-
Jacob. We already won. Hit the graphic. Go ahead.
Honestly, I'm not ready to toss the graphic up yet, but I think you guys got there.
Those were all
that was
really
a
good
good
answers.
performance.
Yeah.
All right.
We were sharp today.
You
Yeah,
guys
we
were
were.
very
Yeah.
sharp. Okay, so for the gold medal question, both of you said 3 as the first response. That was the number 1 answer. Quads, you pivoted to 2. That was the number 2 answer.
Nice.
So very good work. One person said 0, and I feel like if Canada
Crazy.
doesn't win any gold medals in those 5 events, then there's a problem.
So how many points was 2 worth?
29.
Nice. Okay. Nice.
You only need
That's
44
good.
more points.
Okay, let's go. Hit the graphic. We won.
After upgrading the seats, what else do you want to see upgraded at Rogers Arena? Harm said concourse, and that was actually 6 points for the concourse. Quasi said washrooms, 10 points there. That was the number 3 answer.
Whoa.
Number 1 answer was food and beverage. Number 2 answer was on ice results.
Okay, honest results is fine. People are out of their minds if they don't think Rogers Arena has good food. Like, okay,
I will say
you want the prices to be lower,
yes,
but I'm sorry, like cars?
a good chunk was cheaper food and beverage, or
Okay,
more options in food and beverage. So
No.
I think the food they have is good.
Yeah, I love Rogers Arena food. Like you get triple O's. Like you criticize a lot. Folk criticize whatever you want. You know, Harmon brought up the concourse. It's a very narrow concourse. That's fine. That was my big complaint when I was when I had to walk the concourse all the time. But the food, I am not. You will not see me complain about the food options at Rogers Arena. I think they kill it.
Now the number 4 answer was a practice rink. So there you go.
Okay.
We know that's not happening at Rogers Arena, but fun little tidbit for those who have followed the show for the last couple of years. Who is the second best defenseman in Canucks history? Thank you, everybody, for not saying Quinn Hughes. I was worried a few smartasses were going to be like, yeah, Quinn Hughes is the second best. No, nobody said Quinn Hughes. Harm, you said Alex Edler. That was the number 1 answer with 30 points, or 33 points, rather. Quads, you got Matthias Ohlund, the number 2 answer. 20 points there. Rounding out the top 5, Jyrki Lume, Ed Jovanovski, and Kevin Bieksa at number 5.
How many more points do we need?
You need 14 points.
Okay. With 2 more to go.
With 2 more to go.
Okay. Yeah.
And yes, now I can officially toss up your graphic.
5-0. Oh my gosh.
Name a Canuck past or present with the first name Alex. Burrows was the number 1. Edler was the number 2 with 28 points. Some other fun ones: McGillney, Ald, Chason. The number 5 answer is Alex Biega. So some good ones in there. Deep cut. Yeah. Length of Quinn Hughes' next contract. Harm, you got 8. That was the number 2 answer, 26 points. Quads, what'd you say? 3?
Yeah.
16 points. That was the number 3 answer. The number 2 answer, the number 1 answer that you guys didn't get was 6. Now, 6, if he hits unrestricted free agency, would be the maximum length he could get from another team when he hits unrestricted free agency.
Yeah.
So that's probably where a lot of that went. 8 obviously means he re-signs with the Canucks between July 1st and I think September 16th was when the new rules in the CBA go in place. So if he signs this summer, he can get 8 from the Canucks. If he signs after September 16th, he could get 7 from the Canucks. That was why 7 was down the list. Good call on avoiding that one, Quads. 6 would be the max he could get from another team in unrestricted free agency, or he could sign with the Canucks for 6 years as well if he so choose. 5, 4, 3, and 2 all had scattered answers, obviously, throughout there. I don't think anybody said only a 1-year extension because that would be dumb. So there you go. Good work, guys.
5-0.
5-0. Wow.
We're a wagon this year. Harm.
We're coming for the cup.
All right. Before our next segment, which is anyone else, I want to tell everybody about our friends over at Greta, a great spot for all games, both home and away. You can skip the line and not have to pay cover on game nights if you're wearing Canucks gear. And of course, there's also the game day specials at Greta, including $3.33 off select food items, $3.33 for select drinks, and more. With the arcade, bar, and street food menu, make Greta your spot to watch the big game. 50 West Cordova Street is the address. Let the games begin. Here's the thing. You're listening. Greta's a great spot all the time, but man, if I was working downtown, which I actually, you know what, Harm? We're in studio show tomorrow. We're both gonna be downtown. Maybe with this 5 o'clock start, because they're in the central time zone, we swing by Greta or one of the 4 p.m. We'll do that. 4 p.m. start. We'll do that because you go right to Greta, have your dinner there, watch the game. Great spot to watch it. But I would do that if I was working like 5 o'clock. I'm off. If I was off work downtown, head on over to Greta. Can't beat
Easy.
That. Can't beat that. All right. We're gonna do the Uber Eats stat of the day tomorrow. We're gonna do that 3 times a week moving forward. So we'll do it tomorrow. I'm not sure if you had one ready, but we'll do it tomorrow. We'll get to it tomorrow. Unless you're dying to do it today. Do you want to do it today?
No, I already talked about the Heedle stuff, which would have been my stat of the day. That I didn't realize this 5-5 ice time was that high.
Yeah. All right. We'll get our stat of the day in tomorrow then. Then without further ado, let's get to anyone else. Presented by Pacific Toyota Dealers and the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid, a no-compromise approach to electric vehicles that offers the best of both worlds. Drive up to 72 kilometers on the battery alone and then seamlessly transition from electric mode to the gas engine for a combined range of 962 kilometers. There's no sacrifices when it comes to horsepower or style with its sleek, low and wide exterior and sophisticated interior. It's loaded with tech that's actually easy to use. Plug in to recharge at home or at one of the over 2,000 public charging stations in BC alone. And now you can lease a 2025 Prius plug-in hybrid SE from $99 weekly at 3.49% APR for 64 months with $3,600 down. And it includes a $3,000 discount. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. All right. Anyone else? I wanted to start it with... Where did it go? Yes, Thatcher Demko and Brock Besser have been added to the USA Men's Olympic preliminary roster. Of course, they were held off of that roster for the orientation camp in the summer. Demko talked at training camp about how he really wanted to let his play speak for itself and how he said, if I play up to the standard I know I'm capable of playing, I'll get to be on that team. And hey, he's been really good through his first 2 starts, and they quickly added him to that roster.
I think Besser's going to have a tougher time just because there are so many American forwards that took big steps last year. And like Jason Robertson didn't make the team. Clayton Keller didn't make the team. Tage Thompson didn't make the team. That forward group is just absolutely stacked. And it doesn't even account for a guy like Logan Cooley possibly breaking out as a star this year. So to me, I think Besser's path to making the Olympic team is tough. Whereas Demko, if he continues playing the way that he has through the start of the season, I think he's more likely to maybe make it. Although Jeremy Swayman is worth watching as well, because after a tough go last year, through his first 2 starts, he's been lights out in Boston.
Yeah. Like, I always think about Joey Decord because he was the one that everybody was like, oh, there's the odd man out. But he played at the Worlds, right? He played at the Worlds. So it's going to be interesting to see how it kind of progresses throughout the rest of the season. I wanted to get this one in as well. This one came down during the show, and Mark brought it up in the chat. Brady Tkachuk Hand surgery, out 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, and the Sens through the first 4 games or so have allowed 22 goals against. So it hasn't been the best start for them. Linus Ullmark has really struggled. I watched their game against the Panthers, and the story of the Sens so far has almost been the opposite of last year, where the Sens under Travis Green were so structured defensively. They had good goaltending, but their issue was goal scoring. At 5-5, I think their goals for rate was 30th in the NHL. Whereas this year, I watched them against Tampa. I watched them against Florida. They look faster and more dynamic offensively. Shane Pinto has put together a really strong start so far. He's already up to 5 goals. But defensively, they've looked loose, and Ullmark has had a couple of stinkers. Like that Florida game where they lost, just a couple of softies just going through him, and he single-handedly let them down. Their PK struggle a little bit too, and now without Brady Tkachuk, the East is deep. And even before the season started, I thought there was a chance that I thought there was only room for one of Montreal or Ottawa to make it, just because of how many, like you got Tampa, you got Florida, you got Toronto. In the Metro, you still got New Jersey, Carolina, and Washington. Plus, you got a team like Columbus coming. And then, in my mind, that only left room for one of Montreal or Ottawa. Now, there is still technically a pathway for both of them to obviously make it, but Detroit's off to a great start too. They're in the mix. Point being, I didn't view the Senators, despite them showing a lot of promise last year, as necessarily being playoff locks. And especially when you look at how electric the Habs have looked early and how much of a difference not just Dobson has made, not just Demidov, but Zach Balduke, who I think was one of the more under the radar acquisitions this summer. That Habs team looks way less reliant on their top line than they were last year. They found a new gear, and all of that combined, I think, starts to make you a little bit nervous if you're a Senators fan, because as much as I still like that roster, the East is deep, and no Brady Tkachuk. Linus Ullmark is not playing well. There are some question marks in the nation's capital for sure.
Miss L in the chat. Both Tkachuk brothers injured. That EA Sports curse. No, that's not a thing. That's not a thing. It's not. It's not. It is with
Madden.
Madden, yes.
But some might say for NHL as well. If you actually go look at the last 20 games, I would say more than half dealt with a really bad season or an injury after being on the cover. Not as bad as Madden. Madden's 70+%, 75% of the guys have terrible years when they're on the cover. But I think part of that is just it's football, and guys get hurt for an entire season way more often in football than in hockey. But
I wonder if that's part of the reason that Sidney Crosby has never been on the cover.
Yeah, I saw someone in the chat, I think it might have been Miss L saying that in the chat, that might be why Crosby was never on the cover, because I'm sure they've wanted him on. And
or even McDavid.
McDavid has.
He was, but wasn't it the year he broke his collarbone?
No, because that he broke his collarbone his rookie year.
Wasn't he on the cover of 16?
No, he was on 17 going into his second year.
Tarasenko was.
Okay, then it might have been 18. He wasn't on in his rookie year.
You're right. He was on 18.
But Ovechkin's been on the cover twice, and obviously he has never really missed any time. So
not a thing.
Yeah. Also, just the last thing with Montreal right now, they've played 4 games, and they only have 2 players on their active roster who haven't picked up a point yet, and that's Jake Evans and Josh Anderson, who are basically 4th line guys now. So pretty impressive stuff with how they've balanced their scoring, as Harm mentioned.
That Lane Hutson contract, by the way, is such a freaking steal.
Yeah, it is.
Who the hell told Lane Hutson to sign that contract? Under $9 million, less than Luke Hughes, less than Jackson Lacombe. Oh my god,
well, dude, he wants to win. He wants to win.
Yeah,
I
know, but
even.
I get it.
That Montreal roster, you can say the same thing about the Suzuki and Caulfield contracts, right? Those have aged so well in 2 years. This Habs team's going to have unlimited money as the cap goes up to go out and sign free agents to give themselves a 4+ year cup window where they're legitimate cup contenders.
And by the time they have to pay Demidov in a couple years, they get the Gallagher and Anderson contracts off the book. So everything just lines up perfectly. And I'll say this about Lane Hutson. I'm not saying he's going to become as good as Quinn Hughes because there's still a lot of room that Hutson has to cover. But man, when you watch Hutson play, and Jacob, I'm curious what you think as well. He reminds me a lot of a younger Quinn Hughes with
He
how
does.
shifty he is. And I honestly don't think he's as bad defensively as people describe him to be. There's still obviously areas he has to clean up, but I mean, Quinn in his sophomore year, the COVID year, hadn't figured out his defensive play. So man, like if he's 80 to 90% of what Quinn Hughes is during his prime and in a rising cap environment, you have him locked up long term, especially because this is the final year of his ELC. So you've essentially got 9 years of team control with him under 9 million. Like that's going to be one of the best contracts in the NHL, flat out.
Yeah, I think the comp with Hughes makes a ton of sense, right? Like there's still room to grow defensively, but he's not a liability. And with what he can do offensively, how shifty he is, how he skates, how he moves the puck, like, yeah, I don't think he'll be at Quinn Hughes's level, which is best defenseman in the NHL, arguably top 5 player in the NHL when he's at his best. Like, I don't think Hutson quite gets there, but he's not going to be far behind. Like we talked in recent weeks about how it's like Makar and Hughes, a big gap, and then everyone else. I think Lane Hutson could be in that gap as like, you know, not quite at the level of Makar and Quinn Hughes, but certainly a step up on everyone else in the league.
The Flames lost again. 4 straight losses for the Wagon Flames.
Who could have seen that coming?
No, I know, man. It's tough. It's affecting.
I told you, betting on the Flames last night with no Dustin Wolf in that too was certainly a choice.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it wasn't good. Did you watch the game?
I didn't watch the game. I'll be honest. Calgary is near the bottom of my list of teams I want to watch.
Yeah,
no disrespect to the Flames. They're hardworking. I caught 1 or 2 of their games this year just because I wanted to watch the teams they were playing against. But there's so many more fun or entertaining teams that have high-end skill.
Speaking of high-end skill, the Chicago Blackhawks dummied the Blues 8-3 last night. Did you happen to catch that game?
No, not that one. But
8-3. Ilya Mikheyev scores his 3rd goal of the season. He'd be leading the Canucks in goals right now. Ilya Mikheyev scores. Lucas Reichel scored 2. And again, Lucas Reichel, the reason I bring him up, that's a name that's still out there of he wants to change of scenery. The team wants to move on, score a couple goals. Does that change anything? I don't know, but we wrote about it at Canucks Army as Reichel being a guy that the Canucks might be interested and should be interested if it's a buy low candidate. And I think you and I already had this conversation, but at least worth keeping an eye on that Reichel potted a couple last night. So 8 goals. Ask me how many points Connor Bedard got. Take a guess.
2.
He got 3 assists. No goals, but 3 assists. So good for Bedard.
He looks quicker this year.
He looks so good this year. Even that first game where they played the Florida Panthers. I remember that was a takeaway from both of us that we talked about was he's just so fast. And he's thinking the game better now. Like he's making way better decisions, sharper reads at both ends of the ice. He looks really good.
Yeah, it's and Nazar was one of my favorite sort of breakout picks for this year. We'll see. I think the team around them is still not very good at all. And I expect them to cool off and struggle a lot at some points, especially defensively. But early on, the vibes are a lot better than they were a year ago. That's for sure.
I think even if you could just be, and this is the thing, this is what we were talking about last year with the San Jose Sharks, right? In comparison to the Blackhawks, it was like, you're going to lose a lot. We all know that, but can you have fun while doing it? And not in like we don't care what happens. Just like, hey, we know it's going to be tough, but we're just going to make the best of it. And we're going to give our all, put in a strong effort and have some fun while we're doing it. And that's what the Sharks did last year. And that's what the Blackhawks we've been begging to see is just like have some fun games. And speaking of which, just kind of transition again as we go through the sad clubs in the NHL, the Buffalo Sabres, man, like, I don't know what the answer is because it's not a coaching change. I don't think, although maybe they'd benefit from like Bruce Boudreau coming in maybe and just having a ton of fun and being like, hey, you guys are great at hockey. Go score a bunch of goals. Who cares what happens at the other end of the ice? maybe they could benefit from that. Maybe. But I don't think a coaching change is going to solve anything in Buffalo. I don't know. What do you do? What do you do if you're the Buffalo Sabres?
You pray that Terry Pagula sells the team. And I mean, if it's not ownership, then it's management. And from what I've heard and seen, it sounds like there have already been fire Adams chants at Sabres game. Now, worth mentioning, they scored 8 on the Senators last night, I think it was. Zach Benson picked up 4 assists. Good for him in the season opener. But honestly, they've just been cursed injuries-wise to start the year. It just feels like everything that could go wrong in Buffalo always does go wrong. They started the year, no Owen Power, no Michael Kesselring, their entire second pair defense. No Zach Benson, who's supposed to play top line left wing because of JJ Paterka being traded. No Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, who is their number 1 goaltender. And then Josh Norris gets hurt and is out for a significant amount of time in the first game of the season where they got shut out 4-0. Like that's as worst case scenario as it can kind of get. And now if you're the Sabres, it's really worrying, because if you have another terrible year, are Rasmus Dahlin and Tage Thompson going to want out? And if that happens, oh geez, man, you're not touching the playoffs anytime soon if those guys want out.
Dahlin's recent comments, even, and not to mention Alex Tuch, right? Like, they got to try and figure out something with Alex Tuch. But Dahlin's recent comments kind of said that, where he was like, "What was I don't want to misquote him, but do you know what I'm talking about?"
I don't know the exact quote.
Yeah, I gotta find the exact quote.
He did. I remember seeing a tweet where he sounded frustrated.
Yeah, he said it's not acceptable, and we can't let negativity snowball. And then in other recent comments, he was talking about the improved defense and his own commitment to the team. And it kind of ended with, I believe the direct quote was, "We'll see what happens" at the end. So we'll see, I guess, what happens. But yeah, it's not good times in Buffalo. Hey, maybe they've turned a corner. Maybe they've turned a corner with that big win. Their next game is against the Florida Panthers, unfortunately. All right. This is from Elfrin, super chat. It's for $6.99. Appreciate that. This is from Skytrain Canuck Elfrin, who of course comes to all of our watch parties, unlike you, Harm. And this is what he said: "It's all Harmon's fault the Canucks lost to Edmonton at the watch party. I challenge him to air hockey and I'll crush him." Elfrin whooped me in air hockey. I'll say that. I put out the open challenge for basketball, and Elfrin, we see Elfrin all the time, asked if I wanted to play air hockey. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll play air hockey. I got my lunch fed to me in air hockey. I did not do very well. I'm a little rattled about it still, but Harmon, you're getting a challenge from Elfrin in air hockey.
We'll run it up. I'm down.
Is this really what it's been? You've been dodging Elfrin the whole time? You don't want to play him in air hockey? So
this is the first time I've been challenged air hockey. I'm not one to back away for a challenge. I will probably lose, given how
Elfrin's good. He's really good.
The way you're talking him up, it sounds like I got a tough challenge ahead of me, but I'm gonna compete.
Yeah, we'll compete. We'll put in a good effort. They fixed the what do you call it? Table hockey. The table hockey, they fixed it. Really cool. So I was playing that as well. Greta's such a good time. All right. Lefty all around said, "I challenge anybody to table hockey. I am number 1." I'll take you up on that challenge. See you at the next watch party.
I just need to get to the Edmonton Greta, because I have now played table hockey at the other 3 Gretas. So I need to get to the Edmonton Greta and play there. But I've played it in the Toronto, I've played it in Calgary, and I've played it in Vancouver. And it's pretty cool because all of them are like designed with the home team, right? So you get the home team at center ice, and they play against a rival. I'm pretty sure the Vancouver one is against Seattle. Toronto was against Montreal. So they do a good job.
I played it with Tyson Cole at the last watch party, and it starts with the anthem. I don't know if you know this, before the puck comes up, it starts with the anthem. And we were sitting there like, do we really have to sit through the whole anthem? Like, it's not like it's like the whole anthem. I was like, do we really have to sit through this? And then Tyson pushed the button to start the game, and it threw up the puck and stopped the anthem. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I thought we actually had to sit through the anthem before we could play table hockey. So that was really funny. But anyway, we got it. Oh yeah, sorry. So thank you for the donation, Alfred. And if you want to make sure your question or comment gets in the show, hit us with a super chat like Alfred did. Proceeds from our super chat go to the BC Mental Health Foundation, changing the face of mental health and addiction by supporting breakthroughs in care, public understanding, research, and knowledge exchange. We'll try to wrap up the show soon here because it's a game day, obviously. But I did want to get to this. It was an anyone else. I forgot where it was. I apologize. It was asking how Tom Willander has looked, and we're gonna get Dave Hall on the show soon, but he's super busy this week. So, just checking Blackfish. This is what Dave wrote about Tom Willander. He was on the penalty kill. 21-year-old Swede saw minutes in all situations, showed plenty of reasons to be excited. He was composed with the puck, made clever pinches and quick transitions. However, his inexperience showed at times, most notably on Henderson's late tying goal that spoiled Nikita Tolopilo's shutout bid. These are the learning experiences that you want to see Willander kind of going through. And it's not all going to be perfect down in the AHL. There's going to be learning experiences. And you know what? We got to have Manny Malhotra on the show soon. Because obviously we talked to him last year. DPD was kind of the focus last year. It'd be really fun to talk to Manny and just kind of get an update from Manny himself about how Willander's looking down there.
Yeah, they're going to be highs and lows. The real test is going to be, how does he look in January, around the new year, when you've had about 2.5 months of the regular season to get your feet wet in pro hockey. That's going to be an interesting test of, all right, where's your baseline at? Are you dynamic? Are you in all situations stud, driving some offense, moving pucks out? Have you fixed your defensive zone retrievals? Are you one of the best defensemen in your conference? Because that'll be the tell of, all right, how quickly could he potentially make an NHL impact, or could it be a situation where he maybe needs most of the year in the American League?
Be one that's interesting to watch for sure. Dave Hall is going to be writing an Abbotsford preview for this weekend's game. Friday at 4:00 Pacific, Saturday at noon Pacific. Abby's going to be playing. So pregame tomorrow on Canucks Army, and then we'll also have the Farmies, courtesy of Dave Hall, both days. So you can look for that, canucksarmy.com. You get videos of all of the plays that matter in that. So yeah. All right. Anything else you wanted to get to?
No, I think we're good.
Game 4 of the ALCS goes tonight. Jacob has our bet 365 bet of the day.
Yes, I requested this a few days ago. So I'm gonna let people behind the curtain. You know what? I'm even gonna turn my camera on for this because I think it's necessary. So after game 2 of the American League Championship Series, Quads and I were texting, talking ball as we often do, and we were kind of going through like, oh, what are the Jays' rotation plans going to be? And we kind of said, all right, well, we would imagine this and that. And I said, but knowing the Blue Jays, they're probably not going to do it that way. This is what I think is going to happen. And I said, they're not going to start Bassett. He'll be a guy coming out of the bullpen. And oh, look at that. I think it was actually between games 1 and 2 that we had this conversation. And Bassett came out of the bullpen in game 2. And I said, game 3 is locked in for Shane Bieber. I bet game 4 is going to be a Max Scherzer start. And he's going to go out there and he's going to give up a 2-run home run to Cal Raleigh in the first inning, going to get yanked after 2, and the Jays are going to lose the game. Now, the Jays offense looks a lot better, and they overcame a 2-run home run in the first inning last night, but I think it happens again. So my bet is a Cal Raleigh first inning home run. I actually don't have the odds yet, so I'm going to pull those up. But Cal Raleigh to hit a first inning home run off of Max Scherzer. Here we go. I actually want
some Jays fan. Holy smokes.
Like I just said, I think the offense can overcome it. But look, Raleigh had a huge solo home run late in game 3. He's the best home run hitting catcher of all time. He's the best switch hitting home run hitter of all time. You're not going to keep him off the sheet. And look, Shane Bieber has had issues with home runs. He's given up a ton. Max Scherzer has given up so many home runs. I think he's got the highest home run per 9 in the majors this year. I might be mistaken, but he was up there. Kershaw. Crazy that it's Kershaw and Scherzer probably both in the top 3, right? But if we take a look, all right, where's our guy? Cal Raleigh. I mean, you can just get him at an anytime home run at plus 200. That's not right. There's no way. Is that actually it? Because if that's the case, then just take the anytime home run on Cal Raleigh. But yeah, there we go. Having issues with my Bet365 trying to actually get it, but I'm pretty sure. Here we go. Cal Raleigh, 1 home run, plus 200. Take that. Hammer that. Cal Raleigh's going yard. But I think the Blue Jays will win the game and even the series.
All right. There it is. It's our Bet365 bet of the day. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get it on the game. Use the code NATION at Bet365. Must be 19 plus play. If you choose to play, please play responsibly. All right, folks. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be here talking Canucks, and we'll be previewing another Canucks game as well. For my co-host, Harmon Dial, and our technical producer, Jacob Azar. My name is Dave Pugelli. Thanks so much for this episode of Canucks Conversation. Canucks Conversation is live Monday through Friday, every weekday at 2 p.m. over on the Canucks Army YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, and interact in the YouTube live chat every day with us, folks.